Chapter 1. The Menace and the Fool. What? Elias Vane had everything. Money, looks, a last name that could silence entire boardrooms, and a reputation that made teachers too terrified to scold him. But none of that mattered. Not when the only person he couldn't control was Ryan Hale, the loud-mouthed, sharp-tongued transfer alpha who had no patience for rich idiots with too much free time. From the moment Ryan stepped into class, messy hair, untucked shirt, and that irritated frown that could curdle milk, Elias was done for, completely, utterly, hopelessly. "Who's the new one?" Elias had whispered to his friend on the first day. "Some scholarship kid. Don't bother," his friend muttered. Elias smirked. Too late. By week 2, the entire school knew that Elias Vane, heir to the Vane conglomerate, had found a new hobby: annoying Ryan Hale. "Morning, sunshine," Elias would say every day, leaning casually against Ryan's locker, blocking his way like some overgrown golden retriever. "Move. Say please. Move before I break your jaw. Violent. Cute." And when Ryan tried to shove him aside, Elias would grin like he'd just been given the world. Ryan's patience lasted about 3 weeks before he started fighting back. When Elias stole his lunch, Ryan replaced his drink with vinegar. When Elias left flowers on his desk, Ryan stuffed them in his shoe locker with a note that said, "Grow them yourself, plant boy." When Elias cornered him in the hallway, Ryan kicked him in the shin and walked away whistling. The class began taking bets on who'd win, Elias's persistence or Ryan's temper. Spoiler, both were losing. Elias wasn't subtle. He'd follow Ryan around like a puppy with a billion-dollar trust fund. He'd offer him rides home. Ryan refused. He'd offer to carry his bag. Ryan threw the bag at his face. Ew. He even once confessed in front of the whole cafeteria, roses in hand, voice smooth and confident. "Ryan Hale, you've stolen my heart, so I'll be stealing your time in return." The cafeteria went wild. "Ryan?" He dumped his juice over Elias's head and left. Elias stood there, drenched and grinning like an idiot. "Worth it," he said. It was the final straw one afternoon when Elias accidentally locked Ryan in the music room during lunch. "Open the damn door," Ryan yelled, banging it furiously. "Not until you promise to have lunch with me." Elias's voice floated from outside, light and teasing. "I'll promise to shove a chair up your language, sunshine. You'll hurt my feelings." When Ryan finally broke the lock with a kick and stormed out, Elias was waiting in the hallway, holding out a sandwich. "You're insane. For you? Completely." That was the moment Ryan's patience officially snapped. He grabbed Elias by the collar, glared into those smug, laughing eyes, and, without warning, punched him. Right across the face, the corridor went silent. Elias fell back a step, touching his lip where a faint trickle of blood appeared. Then, he smiled. A slow, dreamy, lovesick smile that made Ryan even angrier. "He touched me," Elias whispered softly, almost in awe. "I hit you." "Semantics." Ryan groaned, turned around, and left before he could actually commit a crime. By the next week, Ryan had transferred schools. No warning, no goodbyes. Just gone. Everyone forgot about it in a month. Everyone except Elias. Years later, people would still joke that no one had ever broken Elias Vane's heart. But if you looked closely, you'd notice how he never dated, how he'd go quiet whenever someone mentioned Hale. Because for Elias, that one punch wasn't rejection. It was the start of an obsession. Every laugh Ryan had, every glare, every insult, it all lived rent-free in his head. He'd loved a menace once. And someday, he planned to find that menace again. And never let him leave. Chapter 2. Reunion with the Tycoon. Years passed, but Ryan Hale's life was as dramatic as ever, minus the luxury. After scraping through college with sleepless nights, 2 part-time jobs, and an ungodly amount of instant noodles, he finally landed a position at Vane Industries, one of the top corporate empires in the world. Stable job, good salary, fancy office. The dream. Except, fate was cruel, and very, very bored. Ryan adjusted his tie in the elevator, mumbling to himself. Okay, Ryan, be professional. No sarcasm, no yelling, no threatening to throw office chairs. First day. You need this job. The elevator dinged. The doors opened to the top floor, sleek marble floors, glass walls, and an atmosphere that screamed money. He walked toward the massive oak door with the golden nameplate, Elias Vane, CEO. Ryan paused, frowning. That name sounded oddly familiar. Nah, he muttered, brushing it off. Can't be. That idiot was probably expelled years ago for existing. He knocked. Come in, a deep, smooth voice called from inside. Rion stepped in and froze. Behind the enormous desk sat a man in a tailored black suit, gold-rimmed glasses framing sharp eyes that glittered like sunlight on obsidian. His hair was slicked back now, his expression calm and confident, but that smirk, that cursed, infuriating smirk, was the same. Elias Vane. The same smug, lovesick idiot from high school, except now richer, handsomer, and clearly still insane. Rian blinked, then spoke first. Oh, hell no. Elias stood, smile widening like a cat that just cornered its favorite toy. Missed me, sunshine? Ryan's reflexes were faster than his brain. The file in his hand went flying straight at Elias's head. Elias caught it effortlessly. Aw, a welcome gift. You do care. You? My boss? I'm quitting. Ryan spun toward the door, but Elias was already there, blocking his way like a brick wall, wrapped in an expensive suit. You can't, Elias said, voice low, dangerously amused. You already signed a 3-year contract with my company, which means… He leaned close, smirk deepening. You can't leave me, sunshine. Ryan's eye twitched. Don't call me that. Then what should I call you? My love? My destiny? My beautifully angry mistake? How about, sir, please don't sue me for punching you again. Elias laughed an actual laugh, deep and warm, like he'd been waiting years for this conversation. Still the same, still loud, still gorgeous when you're mad. Ryan gritted his teeth. You need therapy. Elias tilted his head. I tried. The therapist quit after I mentioned you too many times. From that day, chaos reigned on the top floor of Vane Industries. Daily highlights. 8:30 a.m. Elias waits by the elevator every morning, holding Ryan's coffee like a loyal dog. Ryan snatches it without a glance. Stop smiling like that. Like what? Like you're imagining me committing homicide. Only if I get to be the victim. 10 a.m. Ryan tries to focus on typing reports. Elias keeps standing behind him, pretending to supervise, but actually just watching him breathe. Do you ever blink? Ryan snaps. Not when you're around. Rion throws a pen at him. 12 p.m. Lunch break? Elias brings homemade food to Ryan's desk. Eat this. Why? Because I made it. Then I'm definitely not eating it. Elias pouts dramatically. Ryan sighs, eats one bite, and immediately regrets how good it tastes. Elias beams. See? My love feeds you well. Feed yourself to a blender. 3 p.m. Meeting with board members. Elias is all professionalism until Ryan accidentally calls him boss in front of everyone. Elias looks way too pleased. Say that again, he whispers as they leave the room. Say what? Boss. Fine, boss. Now go get hit by a car. Despite Ryan's threats, insults, and daily eye rolls, Elias was the happiest man alive. Every glare from Ryan made his heart race. Every sarcastic comment was music. Every time Ryan stomped away, Elias's eyes followed like a lovesick puppy who owned half the planet but only cared about one irritable alpha. He'd waited years for this, for him. And he wasn't letting Ryan escape again. That night, Ryan flopped onto his apartment bed exhausted. His phone pinged. One new message, unknown number. You looked beautiful when you yelled at me today. Sleep well, sunshine. Rion groaned, buried his face in a pillow and screamed. He's going to drive me insane. Meanwhile, Elias lay on his luxury bed, phone in hand, grinning like the world's happiest lunatic. I told you, he whispered to himself, eyes gleaming. You can't run from me anymore, my sunshine. Chapter 3. The Great Escape. 6 months into his job at Vane Industries, Ryan Hale had learned two things. 1. His boss was clinically insane. 2. He was probably going to commit murder and look great doing it. Every day was the same cycle: Elias Vane's obsession, his shameless flirting, and Ryan's growing urge to throw him out of the top-floor window. The daily madness. Good morning, my love, Elias greeted, standing at Ryan's desk with his signature bouquet of white lilies. Ryan didn't even glance up from his computer. Stop calling me that. Then what should I call you, my future husband? How about employee who's filing a harassment complaint? Elias only smiled, completely immune. He placed the bouquet on Ryan's desk, earning an annoyed sigh. Elias, if you bring one more flower into this office, I swear I'll marry me out of frustration, strangle you, and use the bouquet for your funeral. Romantic, Elias murmured, utterly unbothered. It wasn't just flowers. Elias was everywhere. He'd show up at Ryan's department meetings, sit next to him at lunch, and even once replaced Ryan's office chair with a luxury massage one because he looked tense. I look tense because you exist, Ryan snapped that day. Then I'll exist closer, Elias replied smoothly, rolling the chair right beside him. And when coworkers tried to talk to Ryan, Elias would swoop in like an overprotective hawk. Hey, Ryan, you free this weekend? One intern asked. Before Ryan could answer, Elias appeared out of nowhere, voice sugar-sweet but eyes murderous. No, he's not. He'll be very, very busy with me. Ryan blinked. I will? Elias leaned closer, whispering, You promised to yell at me for ignoring your emails, remember? That'll take all weekend. The intern ran away. Ryan glared. Elias smiled. Business as usual. The hidden past. Flashback. One night, Ryan stayed late at the office, buried in paperwork. The floor was empty, the city lights twinkling beyond the glass windows. He sighed, rubbing his temples. If I don't get out of this company soon, I'll go insane. That's when he found an old envelope tucked inside a drawer labeled with his name. Inside were photocopies, scholarship approvals, tuition receipts, his own college funding records. Every one of them was signed by Vane Foundation. His breath caught. That was Elias's family charity. Flashes of memory came rushing back: his acceptance letter, the day he almost had to drop out because of fees, and the sudden mysterious scholarship that appeared by luck. Ryan sank into his chair, jaw tightening. He'd worked himself to the bone thinking he'd earned his way here. But the idiot had been behind it all along. He helped me, Ryan muttered, angry and bewildered. That lunatic was helping me? Meanwhile, across the city, Elias sat in his penthouse, smiling at a security feed showing Ryan's reaction. Took you long enough to find out, sunshine, he whispered. I told you. I've never stopped watching over you. The Great Escape plan, 6 months. 6 entire months. That was how long Ryan survived under Elias's chaotic reign before reaching his breaking point. When a position opened up at Vane Industries' London branch, Ryan applied without a word. The interview went smoothly. The job was practically his. All he needed was to submit his final approval letter before Elias found out. Except, this was Elias Vane. The man could buy the moon if he thought Ryan might move there. The next morning, Ryan strutted into the office, humming innocently. Elias looked suspicious. You're smiling. I don't trust that. Maybe I'm just having a good day. You don't do good days. What are you hiding? Nothing, Ryan said sweetly, sliding a folder into his drawer. Elias narrowed his eyes. He would have let it go, except his curiosity was stronger than his sanity. 10 minutes later, he hacked into HR's system, because of course he did, and found Ryan's transfer request. 5 minutes after that, his private jet was fueled, and an entire kidnapping plan was underway. Operation Sunshine Abduction. Ryan left the office that evening, satisfied. Finally, peace. London, here I come. He barely made it past the parking lot before a sleek black limousine screeched to a stop beside him. The window rolled down, revealing Elias in sunglasses, grinning like the villain in a rom-com. Need a ride? Need a therapist? Got one fired already. Get in. Rion backed away. Nope. He turned to leave, but a pair of bodyguards politely, yet firmly, lifted him into the car. Elias, what the hell are you doing? Executing my 3-year plan. This is kidnapping. This is love, Elias corrected smoothly. And technically, we're still on company time. The limousine drove to the private airstrip. Ryan's jaw dropped at the sight of a waiting private jet, glittering under the nightlights. Tell me this is a dream, a bad one. Elias smiled, adjusting his tie. If it is, I hope you never wake up. Ryan groaned. I'm reporting you. To who? HR. I own them. Police. I donate to their department. Then I'll tell the media. I owned 3. Ryan threw his hands in the air. You're insufferable. And you're adorable when you're angry, Elias said, gently guiding him up the jet stairs. Inside the luxurious cabin, Ryan crossed his arms and glared. Where are you taking me? Home. I have a home. No, sunshine, Elias whispered, leaning close with that maddeningly calm smile. You have me. Ryan's jaw clenched. If you were the last person on Earth, I'd still sue you for harassment. Then I'll make sure you never need to. You'll be too busy loving me. Ryan kicked him in the shin. Elias only laughed, clutching his leg. Ah, he touched me again. As the jet soared into the night sky, Ryan sulked in his seat, glaring out the window. Elias sat beside him, eyes soft, smile unshakable. You can't run from me, Ryan, Elias murmured, voice gentle for the first time. You've been mine since you hit me. Ryan looked away, cheeks slightly red, muttering, You're insane. Elias's eyes gleamed. For you, always. And just like that, one lovesick fool and one furious menace flew off into the most chaotic honeymoon. That's not a honeymoon the world had ever seen. Chapter 4. Married against his will. Sort of. If Ryan had known lunch meeting actually meant marriage proposal disguised as blackmail, he'd have faked food poisoning. But there he was, standing inside the luxury suite of the Grand Vane Hotel, staring at Elias Vane, the infuriatingly handsome Enigma CEO who currently looked like a model straight out of a wedding catalog. You can't be serious, Ryan muttered, crossing his arms. Elias smiled like sin itself. Oh, I'm dead serious. Think of it as a strategic alliance. My company's image benefits. Yours too. By marrying you? Ryan hissed. Elias tilted his head, holding out a sleek platinum card, an envelope, and a box. A new penthouse, unlimited card access, and your dream car, yes, the one you drooled over in college. All yours, husband. Rion blinked. You're bribing me with materialistic trash. Luxury, Elias corrected smoothly. And love. Love doesn't come with a receipt. Mine does. Non-refundable. The next morning, Ryan found himself in a designer tux, wrists cuffed with diamond-encrusted restraints, Elias's idea of romantic symbolism. Elias, I swear if you— Shh, the cameras are watching, Elias whispered, smiling charmingly for the reporters as he dragged his furious alpha groom down the aisle. Smile for our company image, darling. Darling, your face. Married life, as expected, was a circus. Ryan threw pillows every night. Elias caught them mid-air and replaced them with himself. When Ryan barricaded his room, Elias hacked the door's smart lock. When Ryan slept on the couch, Elias slept on the couch, using Ryan as a pillow. When Ryan screamed, "You're insane," Elias whispered back, lips curling against his ear, insanely in love. Their office dynamic didn't change much. Ryan was still the bossy alpha manager, and Elias was still the CEO who refused to respect personal space. The only difference? Now HR had to file a formal "Do not flirt in the office, please" notice against both of them. Still, between the chaos, something shifted. There were quiet moments, Elias making Ryan breakfast before meetings, Ryan adjusting Elias's tie when he thought no one was watching, Elias softly confessing one night, "I never moved on. I never dated anyone else. I was just waiting for you." And that night, Ryan didn't throw a pillow. He kissed him instead. Months passed. 10 months to be specific. Their marriage turned from ridiculous to real. Arguments turned into banter. Jealousy turned into need. And one stormy night, need turned into something far deeper. Ryan still remembered the way Elias looked at him, eyes glowing with possessiveness as his pheromones filled the room, low and intoxicating. The world blurred. There was only Elias's warmth, his touch, his whispered promises. When it ended, Ryan lay trembling against him, neck marked with a glowing enigma bond. Elias's arms caged him possessively, refusing to let go. "You're mine now," Elias murmured, voice low and content. "You've always been mine." From that night onward, Elias's possessiveness doubled. He would scent mark Ryan before every meeting, hover around him during lunches, and glare at anyone who dared to look at his husband too long. Ryan complained endlessly, but he also stopped resisting his nightly cuddles. 2 months later, Ryan stood in front of the mirror holding a pregnancy test. Positive. His brain short-circuited. You did what to me?" Elias peeked from the doorway, a tray of breakfast in hand, smile far too calm. "I made sure you can't run away anymore." Ryan threw a cushion at him. "Elias!" Elias dodged it with a grin and kissed his husband's forehead. "Relax, love. You're glowing already." Ryan's glare softened, only slightly, because beneath all the chaos he knew this truth. Elias might be insane, possessive, shameless, but he was his, and somehow, impossibly, Ryan had fallen for him too. Chapter 5. Happily Ever After and Still Chaotic. Ryan tried, he really tried, to stay mad at Elias after discovering he was pregnant. But it was hard to glare convincingly when your husband trailed behind you everywhere, carrying a basket full of snacks, vitamins, water bottles, and baby name books like an overgrown golden retriever. "Elias, I'm pregnant, not dying," Ryan muttered one morning, trying to leave for work. Elias appeared instantly, slipping an arm around his waist. "You're pregnant with my heir, which means you don't carry files heavier than a croissant." Ryan blinked. "Did you just—" "Yes." Elias proudly handed him a croissant. "Breakfast, my lord." "Elias." "Yes, my love?" "Go. To work." "No." That one word was Elias's new favorite. He followed Ryan everywhere, into the kitchen, the office, even to prenatal checkups, where he once tried to bribe the doctor into giving him extra sonogram pictures. The doctor sighed. "Mr. Vane, it's the same baby." "I know," Elias said solemnly. "But he's perfect, and I need more pictures." Ryan groaned. "You're unbelievable." Elias smiled sweetly. "You love me. I tolerate you. Close enough." By the 4th month, Ryan had started nesting, though he'd die before admitting it. He claimed he was just reorganizing the penthouse, yet the nursery turned into a designer-level masterpiece. Elias caught him humming softly one night, folding tiny onesies with suspicious tenderness. When Elias teased him, Ryan threw a stuffed bunny at his head. "I'm not nesting." "You're singing lullabies to laundry, Ryan." "Shut up." Elias walked over, wrapping his arms around Ryan's waist, his voice dropping to a soft whisper. "You're beautiful, you know that?" Ryan rolled his eyes but leaned back against him anyway. "Hormones. Don't make this sentimental." "Too late," Elias murmured, kissing his temple. "I'm already gone for you." As months passed, their house turned into a comedy zone of overprotection and chaos. Elias banned all heels. Ryan snuck them anyway. Elias scolded. Ryan kissed him mid-scolding just to shut him up. Their arguments became less about logic and more about who loved the other more. Elias would shout, "Stop stressing yourself." Ryan would shout back, "Stop stressing me." And 5 minutes later, they'd be cuddling on the couch, Elias feeding him grapes while Ryan pretended not to enjoy it. The night Ryan went into labor was, unsurprisingly, dramatic. Elias panicked so much he forgot to bring the hospital bag and ended up arriving at the emergency room with 2 laptops, a baby book, and a scented candle. Elias, Rion growled, gripping his hand. Focus. I am. I'm Googling breathing techniques. I'm breathing right here, you idiot. Their poor doctor sighed. Congratulations, it's a boy. Elias burst into tears instantly. Ryan, sweaty and exhausted, rolled his eyes, but his voice softened when he saw the tiny bundle in Elias's trembling arms. He looks like you, Ryan whispered, a tired smile tugging his lips. Elias kissed Ryan's forehead. Then he's already perfect. They named him Aurelian Vane, a beautiful little dominant alpha, just like the bridge between their fiery alpha and possessive enigma bond. Aurelian had Ryan's eyes and Elias's ridiculous smile. Dangerous combination. Elias refused to let anyone hold him for the first week. Ryan called him a dragon hoarding his baby treasure. I'm serious, Ryan warned one afternoon, watching Elias hum lullabies while rocking the baby. If he turns out like you, I'm divorcing you. Elias grinned without missing a beat. Then I'll just make another one until you love me too much to leave. Ryan threw a pillow at him. You're insane. Elias leaned over, kissed him, and whispered, Insanely yours. Ryan sighed, looking at the 2 most chaotic creatures in his life, the husband who never gave up on him and the tiny miracle who had his eyes. He rolled his eyes, muttering softly, Idiot. But when Elias pressed another kiss against his lips, Ryan kissed him back anyway. Because somehow, through bribery, blackmail, possessiveness, and a mountain of baby books, they'd built their happily ever after. Beautiful, messy, loud, and theirs. Epilogue. Checkmate, my love. The Vane mansion was loud again. Too loud. Elias Vane was chasing a giggling toddler around the living room while holding a bottle of milk in one hand and a baby bib in the other. Aurelian, come back here, he shouted, tripping over a pile of plush toys. The 3-year-old dominant alpha boy squealed with glee, running straight toward his mother, Ryan, who was lounging on the couch, 8 months pregnant again and munching on spicy chips. Ryan didn't even look up. You're losing to a 3-year-old, Elias. How embarrassing. Elias straightened up, hair a mess, eyes wild. He's fast. You made him fast. I made him smart, Ryan corrected, smirking. He inherited the chaos from you. Elias threw his hands up. I can't win in this house. Ryan arched a brow, setting down the chips. You never did. Their home was a blend of luxury and disaster. A penthouse mansion filled with designer furniture, baby toys, and the faint scent of Elias's pheromones that lingered everywhere. Ryan's second pregnancy was just as dramatic as the first. He still yelled, rolled his eyes, and occasionally threatened divorce every time Elias tried to stop him from eating junk food. Put the chips down, my sunshine. You need nutrition, Elias scolded one night. Ryan took another bite. You need therapy. Elias sighed, kneeling in front of him. At least let me massage your legs. Ryan looked down at him, smirk tugging at his lips. You're pathetic. Elias pressed a kiss to his belly. Pathetically in love. Still pathetic. But when Elias rested his cheek on his belly, whispering to the unborn baby, You better look like your papa, Ryan's hand slipped into his hair unconsciously, stroking softly. He'd never admit it out loud, but every gesture of love from Elias made his chest ache in the best way. Later that night, after Elias fell asleep holding him and the baby monitor hummed quietly beside them, Ryan stared at his husband's peaceful face. A small, wicked smile curved on his lips. You'll never know, Elias, he whispered softly, voice barely a breath. You were always mine first. Because years ago in high school, it hadn't been Elias who fell first. It had been Ryan, the cocky, sarcastic alpha who pretended to hate the rich enigma heir who couldn't stop following him around. He had wanted Elias to fall for him. Every sharp remark, every shove, every sarcastic smirk. It was all part of his plan to leave a scar deep enough that Elias would never forget him. And when Elias fell, he fell hard. Ryan had transferred schools not to escape, but to let that ache grow. He knew Elias's obsessive nature. He knew the enigma wouldn't rest until he found him again. And years later, when Elias appeared as the world's youngest billionaire and accidentally hired him as a secretary, Ryan had smiled, internally. He'd played the part of the angry, bullied alpha perfectly. Let Elias think he was the one chasing. Let him think Ryan's resistance was real. Because that was how Ryan wanted it. To be loved madly, to be worshipped, to be the center of Elias's world. And Elias delivered, spectacularly. Ryan glanced down at his sleeping husband, who had his arms wrapped protectively around his belly even in his dreams. "Fool," he whispered with affection. "You think you trapped me. But I had you dancing in my palm since high school." The baby monitor crackled. Little Aurelian's voice came through half asleep. "Papa, Daddy, love you." Ryan's heart softened instantly. He kissed Elias's forehead, whispering, "Yeah, I love you too, idiot." Elias stirred, smiling in his sleep, murmuring, "Love you more, sunshine." Ryan rolled his eyes but didn't move. His smirk faded into something tender, something real. He placed Elias's hand over his belly. The baby kicked. And Ryan thought, maybe love was never about who fell first. Maybe it was about falling so hard you couldn't tell anymore who planned it and who surrendered. Still, he chuckled softly. "You'll never know, Elias," he whispered again, brushing his thumb over the enigma's mark on his neck. "And I'll never tell. They're happy ever after." Morning sunlight spills over the bed. Elias wakes up, kisses Ryan's bump good morning, and trips over baby toys again. Ryan! He's hiding the TV remote again. Ryan groans from the couch. "Then use your money to buy another." Elias yells, "He hid my wallet too." Ryan smirks. "Guess he takes after me." Elias pauses. "That's terrifying." Ryan laughs, belly shaking, eyes warm. "Get used to it, love. You married a menace." Elias grins. "And I'd do it again in a heartbeat." Ryan snorts. "You already did." They kiss, amid chaos, laughter, and the sound of their son giggling in the background, a beautiful disaster perfectly theirs.